Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderfall Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk about some Stormcast Eternals and Kruleboyz Rules that we have now seen. So, all these rules are true. They came directly from a battle report that was posted on Warhammer Plus. There's a 1,000-point battle report between Kruleboyz and Stormcast Eternals on the app that you can go watch, and you'll see all these rules in action. So what I wanted to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about all these rules, what they mean, what they do, and how they might affect and might give us ideas of what to expect, I guess, from the rest of the Stormcast Eternals and Kruleboyz. We obviously started to see quite a few leaks or teasers rather from Warhammer community or other sources as well, and I'm really excited for these two battle tomes. Everything we've seen so far, I think, has been utterly positive for both sides here. I'm really excited and can't wait to get my hands on this. Got a Kruleboyz army and a Stormcast army ready. When we have the full picture, we will be getting some battle reports out for you. We might even get some out early. And of course, we've just got all the fantastic Warcry rules for them as well, which is amazing. If you're interested in Warcry and you've picked up Dominion and you're waiting for something to do with all those models, go check out Warhammer Community. They just put up all the rules yesterday for all the Warcry rules. You should definitely go check that out and get yourself some games in a Warcry while you wait for the full Codex, Army Book, Battle Tome, whatever you want to call them, release. With that said though, we're going to look at the Stormcast Eternals first, so let's get cracking at that. And so here we have the Stormcast Eternals rules we saw. Now, the subfaction that was being used in the battle report is Hammers of Sigmar. So when doing that, we need to apply all the rules we already know Hammers of Sigmar are getting to get a little bit better of a picture for this. So for starters, we know that Hammers of Sigmar will make Dracothian Guard battle line, which is already just an amazing thing. So they don't really get used in this a lot, but it's a really cool thing to add and think about some of these rules we're about to talk about, thinking Dracothian Guard and what they mean, knowing that we know the war scrolls, or at least the stat blocks, and those models are on a 3-up save base with 6 wounds apiece. Some of these rules are going to look very nice. So for starters, we've got the Hammers of Sigmar subfaction rule. So units gain a 6+ ward save whilst they're within 12 inch of an objective. This is really solid. Now, we already know that Redeemer units are going to get the ability to counters extra models when they're on an objective. Not only that, but they're now going to get a ward save on top of that whilst they're within range of an objective. This is just making Stormcast feel exactly like they should. They're going to go down, they're going to claim an objective, and they're going to hold it till the last. I absolutely love this, both for thematic reasons, and this is just really strong as well. So this is just really cool. Now, Redeemer units, for those who don't know, Redeemer units are currently Sequitors, Vindictors, and Liberators. They are your 3 Redeemer unit choices. Now, we then get the Envoys of the Heavens command trait as well. So this is when a unit within 12 inch of this model suffers a casualty, that unit gets +1 save for the rest of the turn. So it wasn't sure in the battle report whether or not this applies multiple times, but even if it only applies once, this is really good. Imagine your general sitting on an objective with a unit of Redeemers. Now, if current saves are to be believed, we're looking at likely getting Liberators going up to that 3-up save, ignoring a point of rend with their shields, perhaps. That could be really tasty. You add a 6-up ward to that, they count as multiple models on the objective, and not only that, if they suffer a single casualty, they do get +1 save. Now, the catch with this rule though is because how you do multiple attacks, they would have to be attacked by the first unit, and then they would get +1 save. So it means that first one they're going to be suffering from, so you're going to have to weigh up, would you need that all-out defense immediately, or are they in fact going to not need it, not get enough damage dealt, and then just not be moved by anything else. There's also the ability of how saves currently work in the game, where you could put all out defense on them to begin with, and then all of a sudden, if they suffer any casualties through that, they ignore a point of rend as well on top of that. So that could be a really strong way to build them. The artifact for this, I think, is nice, simple, and honestly good. Like, it's a good combat artifact. It's nothing amazing, but it's solid. Double damage on the unmodified wound roll of a 6 for one of your weapons. Like, that's cool. What's not to like about that? I like that it's on the wound roll for this, so that you're not having to do those separate piles of attacks where you get double damage if you get, a 6 to hit, or some that's double damage. That's just a lot of I guess, fuffing around with dice. I much prefer this way to do it. Maybe you're not going to get as many 6 rolls, but I think this is the cleaner way to do the rule. It's nice, it's simple. You know, you can imagine this on something with one of your weapons. I'm thinking maybe a damage D3 or damage 2 weapon or something like that could really turn those sort of weapons into something quite nasty. Would be really cool, like a Celston on Star Drake or a Celston on Dracoth, etc. would be really cool with this. Or even, you know, even your, what are they called? I'm forgetting the name. The Lord Arcanums with their D3 damage Aether Staves could be really cool with double damage on 6s. But that is the Stormcast Eternals. I'm really excited for this. I think these are some solid rules and give us a real good look at how we are trying to make Stormcast Eternals this defensive line army, at least in this particular subfaction, which I think is awesome. It does seem with the other subfactions that we've gotten so far that we are going to be seeing very different ways to be able to play Stormcast, which I'm all for. I absolutely love battle tomes like Soulblight Gravelords, like Seraphon, like Cities of Sigmar, that take the vast pools of models those rangers have and give us these very different ways to play with those models. So really, everything I've seen so far for Stormcast has just been amazing, and I can't wait to see what else we're going to get. And so here we have the Kruleboyz Rules shown off in the battle report. For starters, we've got the Grinning and Blade subfaction. This is a subfaction we haven't actually seen, I don't believe, at least anyway. So we've now got 3 different subfactions for Kruleboyz, which is a bit out of the norm for Auric Warclans. Of course, we've only had the 2 subfactions for Bone Splitters and Ironjaws. I think I am correct in saying that. I may be wrong, but either way, there's a 3rd one for Kruleboyz, whether I'm right or wrong. Units from the subfaction are not visible to enemy units in the first battle round unless those enemy units are within 12 inches of the models from this subfaction. So essentially, for those old 40k players, you get night fighting with this army. So your opponent has to be within 12 inch to shoot or target your units for abilities and spells. So this is really cool. Of course, this doesn't affect units that don't need line of sight, so things like the Croak Bomb out of a Mortal Wounds spell portal or Techless, etc. doing so won't be affected too much. Neither will Lumineth Sentinels, but you know, there's a ton of other shooting armies that will require line of sight and can't get within 12 inch, so a really cool thematic rule, and it could be quite effective. It won't work in every matchup because there's a ton of ignore line of sight stuff in the game at the moment, but this could definitely stop Morathi Bowsnakes, for instance. Unless, of course, they're playing in like Calibron where they get to teleport. This could be a really cool rule to have in the army. I think it'd be interesting to see how people go about implementing this one. We've then got the Slippery Scumbag command trait. Pretty simple here, retreat and charge, which is pretty cool because those big doggos are pretty cool. They fight hard. And who knows, we might get maybe on some of the other models, we might get some more impact hits and some mortal wound stuff that we can use to sort of combine with this would be really nice. But retreat and charge is just a solid ability to get for a command trait. I think there's not much to complain about with this one. It's just good. And then for me, this Spike of Seeds artifact is really cool. So once per battle. But hear me out, it's a good once per battle artifact. When an enemy unit finishes a charge move within 6 inches of the bearer, so this means you could easily have your bearer behind your units screening and just safe from the fight, so you could go on a non-combat hero. You roll a dice for each model in said unit that charged you and end within 6 inch. On a 5-up, that unit suffers a mortal wound. This could be a great horde breaker. This is a sort of one-use artifact that does enough to value being one use. This, I put it right up there with Mist Haven's ability, its artifact there. This is as good as like things like the Phosphex bombs from Caradron Overlords or other once per game ones that really have a good impact on the game, and they work on your timing and your positioning of that one-use artifact to get the most out of them. They can be absolutely devastating in the right circumstances. So a really solid thing. I mean, this one, your opponent's unlikely to ever charge a horde wielding this artifact near them. So, but what that means is you can put this in places where your opponent, or you don't want your opponent's horde to be, because they won't charge you, and if they do, they're going to take a decent amount of damage. They're on average going to lose a third of their units. So, you know, it's a good deterrent artifact as well. Like, you can go, oh, no one's going to go near that. But then that's half the point of this artifact. That artifact's doing its job if it's pushing it somewhere else and turning the fights. If you can use this to your advantage like that, it's still a good artifact because it's doing a job. It's making your opponent make different choices and not the best choice they would want to be making in the situation if they are having to send something else. I really like all this stuff. I like what we've seen for Kruleboyz so far. I look forward to seeing more about them and how they all work in Big War as well as the other Auric Warclans. And so, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of all these rules? Did you watch the battle report at all? And have you seen them in action? How do you think it all went? I'd love to hear from you all and let me know your opinions of it all and what you're looking forward to most about these brand new battle tomes. I know I've got a Kruleboyz army done up on the desk. It should be on the channel very, very soon. And of course, I've got plenty of Stormcast Eternals to show off. So, can't wait to see this and just can't wait to play some more games. The last thing I want to mention is they did use a lot of the new models out of the Dominion box set, so we didn't really see many of the other Stormcast Eternals or Warclan units, so there's not much to say on that, but who knows, we might see some stuff real soon. Thank you all for watching. Please leave some comments, let us know what you think. I'd love to hear from you all. Well, thank you all for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fun little community here at Cinderfall Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. We're always on there. There's always someone chatting. You can go on there and have a good time. Next up, if you'd like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so by following one of the links to Patreon, YouTube members, or following a link to our merch store on Teespring and grabbing some merch to help support the channel in that way. But also, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. So first of all, a big thank you to our Patreon members, Christian Weir, James, Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shop First, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, Tim Newman, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, MJ, and Dynat226. And a special thank you as well to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Steve T, The Real Zeop, Chris Wallace, Turai12, Vinny, Lock Lorick, Matt Mollum, Becky Kinsker Groupie, The Johnny84, and El Mapache. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Lady Witchfox Art, first of all, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel, and also to Xmorphic, who does an amazing job of running the Discord server and doing all the background work there for us. Thank you all for watching once again though. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.